hopefully you were able to see from that video just how important segmentation, targeting, and positioning can be. It's the difference between mediocrity and really amazing experiences for consumers, and that's really important. So now let's take a high-level look at those three things: segmentation, targeting, and positioning, and then later in this series of videos we'll dig into each one of those one at a time. So segmentation is the idea of dividing a market into distinct groups of customers or market segments. Targeting is then the selection of the most attractive segments to focus on in your marketing efforts, and then positioning is determining how you position your product within each of those target segments. Now, there are many examples of this. Just to pick a few, you can imagine the automobile industry. We've got sedans, SUVs that are large, SUVs that are mid-size, we've got sports coupes, we've got all sorts of different product offerings, and those are segmentation strategies. They're going after different demands from different customers. If you walk down an olive oil aisle, as was mentioned in the Gladwell video, you'll see lots of different flavor options, and that's because they're going after many different market segments. And if you look at an iPhone, right now you can buy a high-end iPhone, a mid-tier one, or a discount one. That is a segmentation strategy seeking to capitalize on the fact that customers have different price points that they're willing to pay for consumer electronics. And perhaps maybe a less exciting topic to consider is the area of carpet fibers. And this one I'm going to pick because it's really easy to understand the difference in how segmentation, targeting, and positioning play out. So imagine a marketplace where you have two dimensions. One is the strength of the carpet fibers, that's how resilient they are, and the other is the degree of water resistance. And each of those dots represents an individual's ratings for those two dimensions, how important they are for that customer. Now, if we were to create the average product, we would put something smack dab in the middle of that, and it would be pretty useless. No one would actually get what they're looking for. So instead, we might consider reasonably that there are four distinct market segments here. And we could even imagine what those market segments are. The one in the upper left, labeled A, might be schools that need high strength, but water resistance isn't all that important. The lower left, segment B, might be something like light commercial, where neither strength or water resistance is particularly critical. The lower right, segment C, might be something like indoor-outdoor carpeting, where you need water resistance, but it's not really for high traffic needs. And then D, the upper right corner, might be something like a health club, where there's a lot of foot traffic, but also people sweat and they spill their water, and so water resistance is important. And considering those four, we're clearly going to have to offer different products for each of those customer segments. And that brings us to targeting, which is the selection of one of the market segments or multiple market segments to go after. One consideration might be the profitability of each of those market segments, and here I've just displayed some hypothetical profitability. And if we identify that market segment A has particularly high profitability, that might be the one that we want to go after. And in a future video, I'll make sure to talk about some details on how you actually select which target is the most appropriate. Once you've selected the target, well, then you need to actually position your product within that target space. And one approach to doing that is a positioning relative to competitors. So if we find that we've got two competitors that are already serving this market, we might consider where do we place ourselves in the context of strength and water resistance. We probably wouldn't put ourselves right on top of some of those other competitors, and so within that segment, we can choose to differentiate. So as one example, we might choose to position to the right and up, which would be slightly higher strength and slightly higher water resistance. Now, that's not a major departure, it's still well within that market segment, but it is attempting to differentiate against those existing competitors who are in that segment already. Now, that was a very high-level view of those three components, and so in the subsequent videos, we'll spend more time digging into each individual component of segmentation, targeting, and positioning. Now that you have a good grasp on it, we can dig into segmentation in the next video.